Trump Attorney General Pam Bondi tried to discredit the messenger. No kidding. No surprise there. Claiming that Ravaney was just a disgruntled employee, is how she described it, who was asserting false claims to get his 5 minutes of fame. Whether it's Noem or Bondi or Trump himself, the Trump administration is pretty much hell-bent on discrediting whistleblowers and anyone who is out there sharing information with the press and the public. And there is good reason for that, because the Trump administration has made lying the norm. People inside the government, officials being brave enough to speak to the press, is the only way we know what is actually happening inside the Trump administration. I mean, every example I've cited so far, the slow FEMA response in Texas, ICE supervisors directing their agents to go after non-criminals rather than actual criminals, that new evidence that Emil Bovee directed DOJ lawyers to defy court orders. This is a guy up for an appointment to be a judge. Those all came out in just the past 24 hours. Just the past 24 hours. And if we zoom out, if we look at what we have learned just in the past 6 months of Trump's new term, so much of it we only know because of public servants who spoke out, whether anonymously or through the whistleblower process or even in public. Without them, we wouldn't know what is really going on inside the administration. We wouldn't know that an assessment written by U.S. intelligence agencies contradicted Trump's justification for deporting immigrants to prison in El Salvador, or that Trump Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard fired the officials who wrote that assessment, or that her chief of staff pushed intelligence officials to rewrite that assessment to make it look better for Trump. We wouldn't know any of that. Without sources willing to speak out, we wouldn't know that the Pentagon nearly briefed Elon Musk, a private citizen with tons of business interests in China, on the U.S. military's plans, should war ever break out with China. That very bad, horrible, conflict of interest idea of a briefing was reportedly then called off, presumably, probably, because it was reported in the press. Funny how that works. Without these public servants, we wouldn't know about all of the myriad of ways that Trump's mass firings and Elon Musk's Doge were gutting entire agencies in the federal government. We wouldn't know their obsession with acquiring everybody's data. We wouldn't know about that. On a near daily basis, we are seeing an increasing number of small but significant acts of bravery to get the truth out there, which is why we've seen Trump and his cabinet repeatedly try to stamp that out. Officials across the administration are using polygraph tests, it's been reported, to attempt to flush out even the smallest of leaks. And at the FBI, Director Kash Patel is reportedly using polygraph tests to not only mitigate unflattering press, but also to screen employees for loyalty. And it's not just going after individuals, but the agencies in place that are in place to protect whistleblowers. Back in February, Trump fired 18 inspectors general across the government. We all remember that. It's a long time ago, it seems like, but it did happen. Those are the independent watchdogs within government agencies who investigate allegations of impropriety within their departments, and they are critical to protecting whistleblowers. And now Trump is looking to take over another independent body that protects whistleblowers, the Office of Special Counsel, which is supposed to operate as a secure channel for federal employees to disclose potential wrongdoing without fear of retaliation. It's really no surprise, I guess, that Trump has nominated this guy to lead the office. Meet Paul Ingrassia. He is 30 years old with barely a year of government experience under his belt. He currently works as the White House liaison for the Department of Homeland Security. And while that sounds important, it is not a senior job in any way, shape, or form. If he sounds a little unqualified to run the 110-person office that for nearly 50 years has been the agency for whistleblowers and alleged ethics violations, well, hold on to your hat, because it gets much worse. Back in 2023, Ingrassia worked with the legal team defending Manosphere influencer, accused rapist, and human trafficker Andrew Tate. He posted this picture of the two of them on Instagram with the glowing caption, "Andrew Tate is an extraordinary human being." If that doesn't give you enough sense of this guy's worldview, this guy's judgment, where he stands, here is a sampling of his activity on Elon Musk's X. Last year, on the anniversary of September 11th, Ingrassia shared a video of conspiracy theorist Alex Jones claiming that 9/11 was an inside job. He also said things like, quote, "Being anti-Trump is the biggest dog whistle in politics for anti-white racism." Okay. And last year for Pride Month, Ingrassia posted, "Certain behaviors are righteous and should be encouraged. Others are wrong and should be stigmatized and condemned." As for his writing, Ingrassia has written his fair share of fawning pieces about Trump. He's also argued that January 6 rioters were politically persecuted and that white supremacist and anti-Semite Nick Fuentes has been wrongly censored. I could go on. I literally could go on. There's much more. But I think you get a pretty solid sense of who this guy is. His politics are fringe far right. His judgment and objectivity are very questionable. and he's fiercely loyal to Donald Trump. He is pretty much the last person on earth who should run the office that helps and protects federal employees who speak up against this administration and what it is doing, which is so pivotal to have those protections. And based on everything we've seen Trump and his administration do, that appears to be completely by design. The only sliver of potential good news here, because we all need a little hope at all the moments, is that Ingrassia will require Senate confirmation. And while there's no date on the calendar just yet, and I don't have a huge amount of hope in a Republican Senate, we do have, you never know. Sometimes people warrant a closer look, and this guy does. And we do have a date for another highly controversial Trump nominee. According to multiple reports, the Senate is slated to vote next week on the final confirmation for Emil Bovee to a lifetime judicial appointment. That's a lot to digest. And joining me momentarily is a member of the Judiciary Committee who ran Bovee's confirmation hearing. Don't go anywhere. Senator Cory Booker joins me in just 90 seconds to talk about all of this.
New Swiffer Mop Deluxe is made for small spaces. The upgraded strip has 75% more scrubbing power. And with the new locking head, getting into tight spaces is simple.
Can I borrow it?
The all-new Swiffer Mop Deluxe, the mother of all cleans.
Our right to reproductive health care is being stolen from us.
I can't believe this is the world we live in, where we're losing the freedom to control our own bodies.
We need your support now more than ever. Go online, call, or scan this code with your $19 monthly gift, and we'll send you this Care No Matter What t-shirt.
It is your right to have safe health care. That's it.
Go online, call, or scan right now.
This works. It works. I'm just telling you. It works. It works so good. If something itch or like burns, it's PVC.
I still love to surf, snowboard, and of course skate. So I take Cunol Magnesium to support my muscle and bone health. Cunol's high absorption magnesium glycinate helps me get the full benefits of magnesium. Cunol, the brand I trust.
For more than a decade, Farxiga has been trusted again and again and again. Ask your doctor about Farxiga.
Joining me now, as promised, is Senator Cory Booker, Democrat of New Jersey, and a member of the Senate Judiciary Committee. Let's just start with Emil Bovee, because there's such an influx of news every day. Sometimes it's hard to digest all of it. But this one, I mean, it seems pretty clear this guy lied under oath at the confirmation hearing you were at. Is there any other way to see it?
I have looked at what this particular whistleblower. I have to say that because we're getting indications that there might be other people who want to come forward
about Bovee.
But this particular whistleblower shows to me a real contradiction between what he said under oath before us and what he said in private, and that incongruency should be disqualifying, in my opinion.
It absolutely should be.
But you add to that the fact that he is saying those very words, F, the whole curse. F the court orders. Like, you cannot be somebody in charge of the rule of law if you are saying, and have said in a position, screw the judges and screw the judges' orders. That's something we should not tolerate. But even worse than that, go back a number of years before that, he had one of the worst, what we call Brady violations. In other words, as a prosecutor, he had exculpatory evidence that he did not provide the defense counsel. It's one of the worst cases in the Southern District of New York, one of the most extreme Brady violations that they'd seen in recent history. You've had people come forward. Again, these are not Democrats. These are line prosecutors. These are former people who have served even in the first Trump administration, coming forward talking about how reckless and dangerous and how much disregard he has for the rule of law. And that should disqualify him, both with Republicans and Democrats. It
should. Let's go back, because the whistleblower claim, it's significant to come forward as a whistleblower, and it means you feel strongly about the risk of the person you're identifying poses. But you said there's others about Bovee.
I met with a lawyer representing someone that I think has pretty damning evidence, but there is so much fear, which is part of the Trump Cash Patel. What they want to do is they want to intimidate and threaten people. Look at what they're doing now with Comey. This is all a way to weaponize the law. If you stand up against us, if you speak against us, we will bring the full course of the law. And even if we don't win, we're going to destroy your lives by causing you hundreds of thousands of dollars in legal bills, reputational damages. We'll send a Twitter horde against you. And by the way, if you do what we want you to do, will pardon you from some of the worst crimes, like beating police officers within an inch of their lives.
Is this other whistleblower or whistleblowers? Is it whistleblower or whistleblower?
I don't want to go too far.
Okay, but is it the same details or,
No.
or different details about things Bovee has said?
Yes, I think this is a person who his testimony is in question, and people heard his public testimony and now are saying, wait a minute, I have again receipts to show that this is not what he said, this is not what he did, really casting a shadow over his testimony. And we're trying to give people, not just even in this case, but this is the Trump administration writ large, we're trying to give people confidence that if they come forward, we will do everything we can to protect them.
That is a hard argument to make right now, given they are strategically trying to dismantle. And I just talked a bit about this, right? There are whistleblower protections in government, but it seems the Trump administration is strategically trying to dismantle them. And I say that so people are aware, not to scare anyone. What do you make of this nomination of Paul Ingrassia, who I just talked about, I know you're familiar with? That is a key role where whistleblowers within government would typically go to that person.
Yes. I mean, Trump is hiring people based not upon their qualifications, not upon their past, wrongs that they've done. He wants loyalty and fierce loyalty. And so we're seeing people come before us that are not just unqualified, but that are dangerous to the protections, not of just our federal employees, but dangerous to the public at large. And when you see who he's had even in his cabinet positions, somebody like the Secretary of Defense, people that were involved in sending out in signal chains war plans, we're seeing people that are making Americans less safe, less secure, and frankly, putting people in a situation where the very things we want those government agencies or those positions to do, they're not going to be doing.
In recent years, the American political landscape has been dramatically shaped by a relentless stream of misinformation, deflection, and the dangerous erosion of public trust in institutions. The transcript at hand illustrates this broader crisis by highlighting the behavior of senior officials in the Trump administration, particularly their response to disaster relief and immigration enforcement, exposing a pattern of deception, bureaucratic mismanagement, and scapegoating of the press. The situation surrounding FEMA's response to Texas flooding provides a striking example. President Trump and Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem publicly claimed that FEMA responded faster than ever before and that bureaucratic hurdles were removed to ensure rapid assistance. However, internal sources told a starkly different story. CNN's reporting, supported by multiple FEMA insiders, revealed that critical aid was delayed for up to 72 hours because of a new policy requiring Secretary Noem's personal sign-off on any contract over $100,000. In practice, this led to tragic consequences. Search and rescue efforts were delayed, aerial support was stalled, and call centers were understaffed all while communities were underwater. Rather than addressing these failings, Noem's response was to dismiss the allegations as fake news, deflecting scrutiny by attacking the press. This move typifies the administration's strategy: discredit facts and undermine the media instead of addressing legitimate criticism. It also reveals an alarming disregard for the chain of command and emergency preparedness, with life and death decisions becoming casualties of political optics. The commentary also lays bare the hypocrisy in the administration's rhetoric on immigration. While top officials repeatedly assured the public that ICE was targeting only the worst of the worst dangerous criminals and threats to public safety, the reality, once again, diverged dramatically. Investigative resources once used to apprehend high-risk individuals were reportedly redirected to civil immigration enforcement. This shift led to morally questionable practices such as arresting asylum seekers in courtrooms, detaining mothers in front of their children, and harassing day laborers at job sites. This strategy does not just misallocate resources, actively jeopardizes public safety. Former ICE officials warned that genuine threats were going unaddressed as agents were pulled from critical investigations to fulfill political deportation quotas. The prioritization of optics over strategy underscores a larger, troubling trend in governance, policies driven not by necessity or evidence, but by fear-mongering and the desire to appear tough on immigration. Perhaps the most disturbing theme running through the transcript is the administration's hostility toward whistleblowers. In the case of Emil Bove, a Trump appointee to the federal judiciary, a DOJ attorney came forward alleging that Bove instructed legal staff to defy court orders, essentially encouraging contempt of court. Bove, when questioned under oath, denied these allegations. But contemporaneous emails and text messages released later by Senate Democrats directly contradicted his testimony, strongly supporting the whistleblower's claims. This episode is emblematic of a broader pattern. Courageous individuals within the system risk their careers and sometimes their safety to expose misconduct, only to face denial and retaliation. The fact that Bove's alleged behavior could have led to constitutional violations highlights the danger posed by leaders who believe themselves to be above the law. This commentary underscores an urgent truth. A healthy democracy relies on accountability, transparency, and a robust press. When elected officials prioritize self-image over facts, and when